Treating COVID-19 has basically become a numbers game, right? As hospitals all over LA County are juggling resources to treat patients, and they're also sending out a plea to all of us to do our part to stop the spread of this deadly virus. Right now, there is no district standard when it comes to what's being asked of the district's 700,000 students. And as you can see behind me, there's a lot of tiny hands and a lot of touching going on. So it's advised you bring some hand sanitizer if you are going to utilize one of the playgrounds. Who's ready for some Halloween? Well, if you want to trick or treat, you may as well just go room to room in your own home because most Halloween activities are officially canceled. It's heartbreaking to see what has become of this city that we all love so much in just a matter of hours. And to hear that pastor say that for him today was the first day as a black man that he felt that the world viewed him as human was certainly very heartbreaking and heartwarming to hear as he is finally feeling some hope. It has been brutal. It has been absolutely brutal, and I wish I could say the winds are heading east or the winds are heading west, but quite frankly, I feel like I'm in sort of a really wide tornado because the winds are moving in all directions, at least close here to the ground. The fire started here at El Dorado Ranch Park, but because of the heat and extreme dry conditions, the fire spread very, very quickly, burning about 1,500 acres in just the first few hours. We have some sort of a structure that's burning over here right behind us. At concern is the right-hand side. We've got about 6 or so horses that they can't seem to corral. And of course, it is the mighty Pacific that is causing all the problems out here on Newport Beach, as yet another king tide is expected out here today. That's why crews have been creating this sand berm along the shore. Doesn't seem like it's a large portion of the freeway, but we know how this area is. And if you're just closing down a couple of miles of it, it's going to create quite a lot of gridlock and headache for drivers all around the area. I mean, I need coffee and I'm not even on the road yet, so I can't even imagine how drivers are feeling already. Farmer John is out. Will it be an error on the play, or will fans relish in the new flavor? Only time will tell, but there is officially a new dog in town. I am rarely this excited to be standing in this kind of heat, but let me tell you, I will do it for Disneyland, and you can't see behind my mask, but there is a big grin from ear to ear, and I am not alone, as so many have come to this park today just looking for a little bit of happy. It was just a couple years ago when Erica Becerra started a new life. But last night, her family was forced to say goodbye.
Towards the last moments, she was tearing. I know she heard us. We prayed for her. We talked to her. We comforted her till the last moments.
As this 33-year-old wife and mother became another victim of the virus that has changed our world. But this woman's story is terrifying, which is why her brother, Michael Aviles, pushed through his grief to share it.
And she's all like, "Mom, I don't feel good. I don't feel like myself. It's hard to breathe."
Becerra was 8 months pregnant when she was diagnosed with COVID-19. She was taken to Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, where she had recently moved for her husband's job.
The weekend came along. The doctor saw that, she wasn't getting any better. They gave birth to her son.
Her labor was induced, and on November 15th, she gave birth to a healthy boy, Diego Antonio Becerra.
She had a normal labor. She gave birth to her son, but didn't get to hold him. Because right after she gave birth, that's when they put the tube in. And then from there, she just started declining.
Aviles and his family rushed to Michigan from Los Angeles, where she grew up, to be by her side.
Because all my sister wanted was the best for everybody. And she cared about lives. She didn't deserve to go through what she went through.
And as cases in the Latino community continue to rise at an alarming rate, this family wants her death to send a message.
This is a real thing. I don't know why people don't comprehend that.
She had no underlying conditions other than pregnancy. And thankfully, her husband, 1-year-old daughter, and newborn son all tested negative. But with unimaginable challenges ahead, her family started a GoFundMe page to help with expenses. And although little will ease their pain today, they are hopeful the lesson she left behind will help stop the spread.
I know God needed her more than we did. And with open arms, we gave her to God last night.
Joy Benedict, KCAL 9 News. Yeah, it really is just a mess out here, Amy, to say the least. The good news is the roadway seems to have been cleared, but county crews are still working on that. The problem is, well, everything else. I mean, take a look at this driveway here. You can see this Tesla is still buried in mud that came from up the mountainside behind it, as many in this community are still trying to dig out. It's simply a sea of mud, as remnants of a burned out hillside still coat the driveways all along Silverado Canyon. In some places, it's so deep, cars can't be moved.
This is the crew of people working to get everyone out safely.
Christine Katz couldn't contain her joy as she watched county workers dig her out of her home as she was trapped by a closed roadway littered with mud and her neighbors' cars.
They were here until 8:30 last night, and there was truck after truck after truck coming through.
This is one of several sections of Silverado Canyon that became impassable when the road turned into a river on Wednesday. This home suffered significant damage when the heavy mud buckled the garage.
When the creek is flowing real good, it almost sounds like thunder, the rocks rolling down the creek.
The Orange County Fire Authority says 7 homes had mud flow through them, and 9 cars were damaged when they were pushed around like toys.
It's the power of nature. You see all this, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You just live with it.
And with more rain in the forecast, all eyes are on the sky and the hillside, now soaked by rain, blackened by fire, and barren from anything to hold it in place.
That hillside got burned down to the dirt, so in my opinion, there's going to be more mud flows, not just this year, but for years to come.
And although people don't move out here to the canyons because they hate nature, its fury can still be frightening to see and hard to clean up.
It's what you pay for living up here. It's fires, floods, you worry about all of it.
We were all prepared for this over and over tenfold, and then the moment we let our guards down, it just smacked us in the face.
Certainly tough for folks out here. Now back out here live, you can see the county crews are actively working, but they only clear the right-of-ways, and those are the roadways. When it comes to the driveways and things of that nature, that is up to the individual homeowner, which can, of course, create a lot of problems. But I did speak with the Orange County Fire Authority, and they say they can expect this canyon to stay closed until they can clear the roads and possibly this storm passes through. Amy? It's the most recognized military helicopter in the world. Now the Black Hawk has been transformed into the Cal Firehawk to attack one of the biggest enemies on the West Coast, wildfires. Dan Anderson used to fly it in combat. He's now a pilot for Cal Fire.
This thing was made to go to war. It's pretty much flying the same thing, just with different paint job and a different uniform.
And different weapons.
Yes.
Gone are the guns, replaced by a tank that holds 1,000 gallons of water.
It's our retractable snorkel right here. It goes down 12 feet below the aircraft.
It can refill in less than a minute. Brent Starr is also a Cal Fire pilot.
We get the digital information of exactly how much water in gallons or pounds that we have on the aircraft. Before, we didn't have that capability. I just had green light saying the tank is a quarter full or we're half full.
With 2 engines, it flies at speeds more than 150 miles an hour, faster and higher than Cal Fire's aging fleet of Hueys built in the 1960s. With a state-of-the-art cockpit, this fancy flying machine can literally fly itself.
Couple up to my autopilot with altitude, airspeed, and I can actually put in a couple waypoints and it'll fly me all the way back to my helipad base.
The new Firehawk can haul 12 firefighters, and with a built-in hoist, it's always ready for rescues.
We've had heat exposures. We've had firefighters step in a hole, and those holes actually are burning underneath them, and he actually gets third-degree burns on his legs. So now we can immediately go into our rescue operation.
But this type of security and technology isn't cheap.
They're right around $24 million each.
Cal Fire's senior chief of aviation says they've ordered 12.
We have the largest aerial firefighting fleet in the world. Our intent here in California is to have an aircraft on any fire in California within 20 minutes.
Because in a state where fires consume entire communities, seconds matter.
It was something like I'd never seen before, and all of us just looked at each other in shock.
When the Camp Fire exploded in Paradise, California in 2018, Anderson was there.
The type of fire behavior, the quick spreading, just the heat, the darkness, and it was moving so fast.
From the air, his mission was to keep the roads open as flames closed in on both sides.
So we were dropping water on cars that were on fire trying to come through and just keeping that open. And we heard several stories later that people would said they thought they were going to die, and from the smoke and the fire above, rain came. So we'd like to think that that was us.
The Camp Fire destroyed 18,000 buildings and killed 85 people, making it the deadliest fire in California history. It wiped out the entire town of Paradise, where Anderson grew up.
And that was just intense in every aspect of the imagination. Almost felt like an Armageddon type event, like, is this really happening?
As drought conditions threaten parts of the state, the Firehawk is poised to transform the firefight. There's something else that makes this helicopter just so unique, and that's its ability to fly at night.
Definitely a game changer for CAL FIRE. We can do a 24-hour mission, so that's pretty important to do rescues all night. We can do firefighting all night.
And CAL FIRE isn't the only department buying this bird. These high-powered helicopters have landed in Los Angeles County and the city of San Diego.
As a pilot, to have this equipment and be able to fly it, you feel like you're in the 21st century, and that makes us happy.
Security in the sky and on the ground, fighting fires, protecting homes. CAL FIRE is investing more than $300 million in the Firehawk, betting it's the right machine for the most important mission of all, saving lives. For CBS This Morning Saturday, Joy Benedict, Sacramento. What may have started as a peaceful demonstration in downtown Los Angeles didn't end that way yesterday. And today, new heartbreaking images are surfacing from what many are calling racially motivated attacks during a rally in support of President Donald Trump.
I don't understand what's going on with the world. I'm saddened by it. I'm heartbroken by it.
Berlinda Nebo is the woman seen in these photos being assaulted.
It's a shame that I can't walk down my street anymore.
She says she was walking near the demonstration when she started being harassed by protesters.
I'm walking by and they're yelling at me because of my color, calling me the N-word, calling me the B-word, saying all lives matter, black lives doesn't matter.
Nebo says she yelled back and the crowd started following her, and then it turned violent.
He goes and smacks me in the face, and then all of them start trying to jump me, and then people jump in.
These images were captured by freelance photojournalist Raquel Natalicchio.
When they started pushing her around, this other woman that was a Trump supporter came up to her and ripped her wig off. Obviously, at that point, she began to try to defend herself.
Natalicchio covers many events like this, so she didn't want to show her face for fear of retaliation, but says she had to speak out.
It's disgraceful. I think it's disgusting. We're witnessing the very real racism that still lives in our country today.
Nebo says it was strangers who came to her rescue, including this man with the red beard.
He was whispering in my ear going, "You're okay, I've got you, don't do anything. These people are literally trying to kill you."
In the process of him trying to carry her away from the crowd, someone sprayed pepper spray in her face and others hit her, but she credits him for saving her.
If not for him stepping in at that moment, these people would have literally tried to kill me.
The LAPD eventually called an unlawful assembly. In all, 6 people were arrested, but none of them were arrested for assault or a hate crime. However, investigators have not ruled out further arrests.
People of color experience things like this on a daily basis and are seldomly believed when they speak about it.
Which is why Natalicchio shot these photos and is hopeful to give not only this woman a voice, but proof that more must be done to send a stronger message against hate.
It's real sad. We got to do better. We got to do better.
Joy Benedict, CBS 2 News. There was a gentle breeze that waved the red, white, and blue. But the calm at the Los Angeles National Cemetery on this Memorial Day weekend was a little unsettling.
It's a little bit more lonely this year.
Gail Johnson has been here every year on this day for more than a decade.
He was out there, kicking down the doors and finding the bad guys, and that's what happened when he was killed.
Johnson is a Gold Star mother. Her son was killed in Iraq on May 23rd, 2007.
As a parent, the most joyful thing you can hear, I think, is the laughter of your children. And probably the cruelest thing is that knock on the door.
John McMillan Jr.
Charles E. Burnett.
For decades, local Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have covered the graves of this cemetery in a blanket of patriotism on the Saturday before Memorial Day. But with a ban on large gatherings, the celebration of sacrifice was canceled.
That's a beautiful ceremony, but just not this year.
No flags, no flowers. The graves this year will stay empty as the threat of COVID-19 looms even among the fallen. A sad sight for those who visit and those who work here.
I understand the meaning of the flags. I understand the meaning of the carnations. But if you have it in your heart, that's what counts.
But just because there isn't an organized activity out here at the National Cemetery, that doesn't mean that you can't stop by and pay your respects to the tens of thousands of veterans who are buried here.
These are the heroes.
Vietnam veteran Brian Rooney brought his granddaughter.
We always, talk about when we pass by that these are the people that gave us our freedom.
People like Johnson's son, soldier Daniel Cagle.
He knew the dangers in Iraq, and he knew there was a high probability that he wouldn't come back. So he spent a lot of very special time with all of us, and he told me that we should always honor him with laughter and not tears.
And although this mother certainly misses the events and the support that usually comes with Memorial Day weekend, she understands why things were canceled. But she hopes we still remember the reason for the weekend, the ones who served and the few who gave all for our freedom. Joy Benedict, CBS 2 News.